What if ranking higher in search had less to do with keywords and more to do with people? This episode of Undumb Marketing cuts through the noise with a no BS SEO playbook for 2025. We break down why human-centric content wins and why chasing backlinks without relevance is a waste of time. Learn how the smartest marketers are using SEO to build relationships, not just rankings. Want traffic that converts? This is where it starts.
Okay, let's try to unpack this SEO thing for 2025. It feels like you can't go online without someone new telling you the secret to Google rankings.
Yeah, it's definitely overwhelming. So much advice.
And a lot of it just sounds, well, recycled. But maybe there's a simpler way, a slightly surprising take on what actually works now.
I think so. And it's interesting, despite all that noise, the data is pretty stark. Something like 90% of web pages get zero traffic from Google.
90%, wow.
Yeah, zero. So that tells you straight away, doesn't it? A lot of the old ways just aren't cutting it anymore. We really need to figure out what actually moves the needle.
Exactly. Let's get really clear on what SEO stuff is essential in 2025, what maybe you can stop worrying about, and how to build a strategy that gets you real visibility, not just chasing ranks.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to dig into why some of that traditional advice is failing, and then break down what is working. Technical stuff, on-page, content, keywords, authority, the whole lot.
And it links back to how search engines have changed.
Yeah.
We're long past just like stuffing keywords everywhere.
Right.
The algorithms, especially Google's AI, they're much smarter now. They understand context, user intent, the whole experience.
Okay, so let's start there. Why is so much SEO advice falling flat in 2025?
Well, the core issue, I think, is that too much advice still focuses on, let's say, optimizing for the search engine rather than for the person using it.
Trying to game the system.
Kind of, yeah. But the system, the algorithms, they have evolved. They prioritize context, intent, user experience.
Yep.
Those old tactics, keyword stuffing, getting tons of random backlinks, they just don't have the same impact. They can even hurt you now.
So here's maybe that slightly controversial idea we mentioned. Should we shift focus? Maybe less obsession with hitting number one and more on creating like genuinely ridiculously useful content that just owns a specific niche.
Exactly. It sounds obvious maybe, but how many actually do it well? It's about solving a very specific problem better than anyone else. That kind of content naturally engages people.
And you see big brands sometimes miss this, right?
Oh, absolutely. You still see pages, even from major companies, with titles like, Best Running Shoes for Athletes 2025, but then the content is just thin.
Lacks real substance.
Yeah. It doesn't actually help the user understand why those shoes are good for them. Is it injury prevention, performance, cushioning? It's just a list packed with keywords.
And the result of that?
Well, they might get a quick ranking bump, maybe, but because users land there, don't find real value, and leave, Google notices that.
So the engagement signals aren't good.
Precisely. Users bounce, they don't stick around, and the rankings drop pretty fast. Google's trying to reward pages that genuinely satisfy the searcher.
Okay. So we know what's not working as well. Let's switch gears. What is crucial for effective SEO in 2025? You mentioned 5 key areas. First up, technical SEO, the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, the unseen power, you could call it. It's fascinating because, honestly, so many SEO problems start right here, with technical glitches.
Like what specifically?
Well, think about it. If your site is slow to load, or if search engines can't easily crawl and understand your pages, even the best content in the world will struggle.
So it's like having a great shop, but the doors are locked.
Exactly. Or it's hidden down some unlit alleyway. You've got to get the foundations right.
So what are the absolute must-haves on the technical side now?
Site speed is huge, absolutely critical. Google's own data suggests sites loading under, say, 2.5 seconds have a much better chance of keeping users engaged, like 70% better.
Wow. And how do we check that?
Tools like Page Speed Insights from Google or GT Metrics, they're great. They'll show you exactly what's slowing your site down and often give you pointers on how to fix it. Even shaving off a second can make a real difference.
Okay, speed. What else? Mobile.
Non-negotiable, seriously. Google uses mobile-first indexing. That means it primarily looks at your mobile site to decide rankings.
Not the desktop version?
Not primarily, no.
Yeah.
So if your mobile experience is clunky, hard to navigate, slow, you're shooting yourself in the foot from the start. It needs to be seamless on phones.
Makes sense, since that's where most searches happen now.
Exactly.
You also mentioned something about AI helping with crawling.
Yeah, this is pretty cutting-edge stuff. Some companies, like HubSpot, for example, are using AI to analyze how search engine bots, the crawlers, interact with their site architecture.
Okay.
And based on that, the AI can predict or suggest changes to the site structure to make it easier for those bots to find and index everything efficiently. They reported reducing indexing errors by like 30% doing this.
Interesting. So it's about making it easier for Google to understand your site.
Precisely, which means users find your content faster. It all comes back to the user experience, even the technical bits.
All right, tech foundation sorted. Let's move to on-page SEO, optimizing the actual content on our pages. You had a slightly surprising take on meta descriptions.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Meta descriptions, those little snippets under the blue link in search results. We used to think crafting the perfect one was key for clicks.
Right.
But the data now shows Google rewrites them a lot, maybe 70% of the time, depending on the search.
70%. So should we just ignore them?
Not ignore them, no, but maybe shift the primary focus. Instead of obsessing over that perfect 160-character snippet, focus more on making sure the actual content on the page perfectly matches the user's intent.
Okay, that makes sense. So what on-page elements do still really matter then?
Oh, several things are still definitely important. You still want one clear H1 tag, the main headline per page, that gives structure and signals the main topic.
Keyword in the H1.
Ideally, yeah, or a close variation. And definitely get your main target keyword in the page's title tag. That's still a really strong signal for Google.
And the meta description, still worth doing.
I'd say yes. Even if Google rewrites it often, when it does show your version, having the keyword in there can help it stand out and improve click-through rate. Same logic for getting keywords naturally into the first paragraph or so. Signal the topic early.
Got it. What else?
Image alt text. Super important, both for SEO, helping Google understand the image, and for accessibility. People using screen readers rely on it.
And how should the content itself be structured? Just big blocks of text?
Definitely not. Make it scannable. Use headings, H2s, H3s, subheadings, bullet points, short paragraphs. People scan online. They don't usually read word for word initially. Break up the text.
Yeah, avoid the wall of text effect.
Exactly. And back to alt text for a second. It's amazing how many sites still neglect this. It's such a basic win for both SEO and just being inclusive.
Good point. Okay, so that's on page. Let's talk content strategy. It feels like it's way more than just blog posts now.
You're absolutely right. The shift towards multimodal content is significant. Ranking well in 2025 often involves more than just text.
Like videos and stuff.
Yeah, videos, infographics, interactive tools, calculators, quizzes, content that actively engages the user and answers their questions in different formats. Google's getting better at understanding all these types.
You had that Nike example.
Right. Their running shoe finder tool.
Yeah.
It's brilliant because it's not just an article about shoes. It's a tool that helps you find the right shoe based on your needs, how you run, your goals, etc.
So it directly matches user intent.
Perfectly. And because it's so useful, it ranks well and it converts. It leads to sales because it solves the user's problem right there.
Smart. So what are the key takeaways for creating content that ranks today?
First, always start with keyword intent research. What is the user really trying to do or find out?
Not just the words, but the why behind them.
Exactly. Then write for people first. Make it helpful, engaging, easy to understand. Then optimize for search engines. You can use tools like Surfer SEO or similar to help check on-page factors.
Okay. What else?
Don't forget to refresh your old content. Google likes fresh, up-to-date information. If you have posts from years ago that are still relevant but outdated, update them. It can give them a significant boost.
Good tip.
And target long-tail keywords, those longer, more specific phrases.
Why those specifically?
Less competition, usually.
Yeah.
And the people searching for them often have a much clearer idea of what they want. They're often further along in their buying journey. So higher intent traffic.
Like your bookkeeping software example earlier.
Exactly. Best bookkeeping software for coffee shops. Very specific. High intent. Also, adding FAQs to your pages is smart. It can help target voice search queries and maybe snag you one of those featured snippets at the top of Google.
Nice. Okay, that flows nicely into keyword research itself. You made the point that low-volume keywords might be where the gold is in 2025. Seems counterintuitive.
It does, right? But think about it. Chasing those super high-volume, broad keywords, it's often a massive uphill battle, especially for smaller players.
Too much competition for the big guys.
Exactly. And even if you rank, the traffic might be very general, not really looking for what you offer specifically.
So the smarter play is?
Focus on those high-intent, lower-volume queries. The traffic might be less overall, but it's often much more qualified. Someone searching for something very specific knows what they need.
Quality over quantity.
Precisely. It's about intentionality, attracting the right traffic, the people likely to convert, not just any traffic.
So how do we find these gems?
Well, the Google Keyword Planner is still a good starting point, and it's free. Look for keywords with decent intent signals, but lower competition scores.
Okay.
Think about mapping keywords to the user journey. Awareness stage keywords, consideration stage, decision stage. Targets different phases.
Tailoring content to where they are in the process.
Yes. And track your rankings. Check weekly or so to see what's working. Group related keywords into topic clusters too. That helps build authority around a subject.
Like having a main page about, say, running shoes and then smaller pages about trail running shoes, marathon shoes, etc.
Exactly like that. It shows Google you have deep expertise in that area.
You mentioned that local accounting software company targeting best bookkeeping software for coffee shop?
Yeah, perfect example. Super niche, but it brought in highly qualified leads who were ready to buy that specific type of solution, way better than just ranking for accounting software.
And you suggested looking beyond the standard tools.
Definitely. Don't just rely on SEMrush or Keyword Planner. Go hang out where your audience hangs out. Reddit, Quora, industry forums, even customer feedback emails or support tickets.
Oh boy, there.
Because that's where people ask questions in their own words. You can uncover the exact phrasing, the specific pain points, the information gaps that your competitors might be totally missing. It's raw user intent data.
Great insight. Okay, last major area, off-page SEO. Let's talk backlinks. Still important. Or overhyped.
Still important, definitely. But the way we think about them needs to be right. It's not about quantity anymore.
So getting hundreds of links from random directories doesn't work.
Not really, no. It can even look spammy. The key now is relevance and quality. A link from a highly respected, relevant website in your niche is worth far more than tons of low-quality ones.
So it's more about overall trust and authority now, not just link juice.
Exactly. Think broader than just backlinks. It's about building trust. That includes things like citations, consistent listings of your name, address, phone number, NAP if you're a local business. Guest posting on relevant, reputable blogs. Getting brand mentions on other sites. Your Google business profile optimization. It all contributes to your off-page authority.
So what are the effective off-page tactics we should focus on?
Earning links naturally is still number one. Create amazing content that people want to link to because it's so valuable. That's the gold standard.
The build it and they will come approach, but with really good stuff.
Kind of, yeah. Guest blogging is still effective if you do it strategically on relevant high-authority sites, not just spamming guest posts everywhere.
What else?
For local businesses, consistent citations are crucial. Getting listed accurately in directories like Yelp, Yellow Pages, industry-specific directories. Claim and fully optimize your Google business profile that's massive for local traffic.
You mentioned Roofs is doing this well.
Yeah, they're good examples. They
Yeah.
produce incredibly detailed, data-driven content that naturally earns links. And they strategically guest blog and build relationships within the marketing community. It's about quality and relevance. Got it. Okay, one final crucial piece. Tracking and measuring. How do we know if any of this is actually working?
Ah, yes. You absolutely have to track. You can't improve what you don't measure, right? It's fundamental.
Makes sense. What tools and metrics are essential?
Google Analytics 4, GA4 is your baseline. Set it up properly to track traffic, user behavior, where people are coming from.
Okay.
And crucially, link GA4 with Google Search Console. That connects your website traffic data with how you're actually performing in Google search, what queries people use to find you, your click-through rates, etc.
Combining the two gives a fuller picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then set up conversion tracking in GA4, track form submissions, purchases, signups, whatever actions matter to your business. That tells you if your SEO is driving actual results.
Beyond conversions.
You look at engagement metrics too. Bounce rate, are people leaving immediately? Time on page, are they actually reading your content? Use UTM codes for specific campaigns so you know exactly which efforts are driving leads. Okay, lots to track there. Let's quickly hit some common questions people have. First off, is SEO even worth it in 2025? Still a good investment?
Yes, absolutely. But only if you approach it the right way. Think of it as investing in creating better content and a better user experience, not just trying to manipulate Google. If you do that, it's definitely worth it.
Should we still chase backlinks?
Yes, but smartly. Focus on quality, relevant links from trusted sources. One great link beats 100 spammy ones.
What's more important, keywords or site speed?
Ooh, tricky one. I'd say site speed is foundational. You need the fast, accessible site first. Great keywords won't help much if people click away before the page loads.
Like having great furniture in a house you can't get into.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Speed first, then optimize the content with keywords.
And how do we really know if SEO is working, beyond just rankings?
Look at the outcomes. Are you getting more leads or sales conversions? Are people spending more time on your site? Are they coming back? Use GA4, maybe heat maps to see user behavior on pages. Rankings are one piece, but business results are the real measure.
Right. Okay, let's wrap this up. What's the winning SEO strategy for 2025, boiled down?
It really comes down to deeply understanding your audience and meeting their needs. Forget generic strategies. Focus on creating fast, trustworthy content that matches user intent, built on solid technical ground.
Quick recap of the essentials.
Okay, nail the technical basics. Align your on-page content with human needs, not just bots. Use different content formats, video, interactive stuff. Prioritize those high-intent, maybe lower-volume keywords, and earn relevant, high-quality backlinks.
And you had one last stat about backlinks.
Yeah, the Backlink study. Analyzing millions of search results, it found top-ranking pages had, on average, almost 4 times more backlinks than lower-ranking ones. So authority still matters. A lot.
So the takeaway message.
SEO isn't dead, it's just smarter. It rewards value. The goal should be to build something online that genuinely deserves to rank well because it helps people.
Great stuff. That really clarifies things. Hopefully, this deep dive helps cut through some of that confusion surrounding SEO.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's about focusing on the right things.
We'd genuinely love to hear from you listening. What are your SEO challenges? What's working? Any questions we didn't cover? Send us a message, or maybe share this with someone else trying to figure out SEO for 2025.
Definitely. And until next time, keep optimizing. Stay ahead of the game.
That's a wrap for this episode of Undone Marketing. If you liked what you heard, don't stop here. Check out our other episodes for more straight takes on today's hottest marketing topics. New episodes dropping weekly, so hit follow and stay ahead of the game. Got a question or topic you want us to tackle? Find us online and let's keep the conversation going. See you next time.